Welcome to Snyder's Inc., where the fun never ends. Reactions, gaming, and more with Josh as your friend. Tune in, buckle up, it's a ride you don't wanna miss. Snyder's Inc., let's dive in, feel the ultimate bliss.
Hello everybody, welcome to Snyder's Inc. and today we have got a wrestling reaction. This is from Parts Unknown. This is the best WWE pay-per-view from every year of the 2010s. And we don't get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button, subscribe button, comment, link down below. If you'd like to help the channel out with a donation, you can leave a super thanks or links to our PayPal's in the description. Let's go.
2010s, when we started with Gangnam Style and the Harlem Shake, had 2 weeks of harmony when Pokemon Go came out, and then the Western world fell apart and we're still trying to pick up the pieces a decade later. Meanwhile, in WWE, you had a curmudgeonly fellow sit up on the stage and have a rant, then rise to prominence and subsequently quit, while the rest of the company descended further and further into complete f***ing madness, and before the end of the decade, Seth Rollins was trying to kill a monster crown in a big red box. If you can believe it, there were still positives to WWE's PG and reality eras, mostly coming in the upswing in in-ring quality on their biggest shows. I guess that's what happens when all the greatest independent wrestlers of a generation converge upon WWE at once, so let's talk about them. I'm Tempest hailing from Parts Unknown, and this is the best WWE...
Okay, I'm gonna make a guess. I'm gonna try to remember each. So, Rumble's 2010. This is my guess. I don't know these for sure, so don't take these as for sure edges. Rumble 2010, Money in the Bank 2011 for sure. '12 Survivor Series. I'm taking guesses here, right? I don't know what they're gonna do. I have no idea. 2013 will be, I think 2013 SummerSlam. 2014 is WrestleMania 30. 2015 Summers. Actually, 2015 is a bit harder. That's some good ones then. No, it wouldn't be SummerSlam then. That might be Mania 31. I think for 2015. 2016. Ooh, they have some good options. I actually don't know what 2016 will be. Some of these are 2016 onwards are the ones I can't figure out. So we'll see. But I got from my guesses from 2010 to 2015.
WWE pay-per-view from every year of the 2010s. But before we get on with this list, make sure, of course, that you like this video, subscribe, and enable notifications to always on so you never miss a list just like it. Make sure that you check out the end of the video where there's going to be a clip of something. It might be a list, it might be a Survivor Series. Who knows? I'll let you decide, editor. 2010, the Royal Rumble.
That was from the thumbnail, so I knew that one was number 2010.
So we start this list with the first pay-per-view of the first year. Love that for us. The 2010s were a turbulent time for the Royal Rumble, which you can be sure you'll hear about next week. But to start off the decade, WWE made the most of the Countdown Rundown Showdown. Every match on the show outside of the titular clash was a championship match, ranging from the 22nd angle of a match between Mickie James and Michelle McCool, and the fondly remembered world title bout between The Undertaker and Rey Mysterio, with a fun opener pitting Christian against Ezekiel Jackson in the final pay-per-view appearance of the ECW Championship. Rest easy, Extreme Prince. But while these matches put the show across the finish line, what does the bulk of the heavy lifting is, of course, the very good Royal Rumble match that WWE at the time called the most star-studded in history. Edge's first Rumble win, Shawn Michaels' elimination of fellow degenerate Triple H, and his own eventual all-time great elimination make the 2010 Rumble one of the best of all time, and an all-time great Rumble makes for the best pay-per-view of the year. 2011, Money in the...
That one was obvious. I knew that one for sure.
bank. Some years take a bit of deliberation to determine their best pay-per-view, and then you have 2011, one of the most legendary pay-per-views in WWE history, the culmination of the Summer of Punk, and a pretty fantastic pay-per-view otherwise as well. A lot of people seem to forget that bit of Money in the Bank 2011. Both ladder matches and the world title match between Randy Orton and Christian were excellent and made that much better by the molten hot Chicago crowd. This was the perfect crowd to see Daniel Bryan achieve his breakthrough moment, and the perfect crowd to see Christian weasel his way back into possession of the world title. And just in case there are still people of the opinion that John Cena vs. CM Punk is merely a good match carried by the unparalleled atmosphere of Chicago, I am here to once again put that match back on its deserved pedestal. This match is fantastic, and even with an average crowd, this would have been a great match. It doesn't feel like a run-of-the-mill WWE main event. They grapple, they tell a hell of a story, they don't just trade near falls, everything that happens builds up to the finish, and it results in one of the best WWE matches of all time to finish off one of the best pay-per-views of all time. If only heel Michael Cole wasn't on commentary. 2012 Extreme Rules.
Oh! Okay. I'm gonna be honest, didn't think of that for a second. I thought what would because I first thought this, Extreme Rules, honestly, but I thought there was no way, because Cena being Brock is such a detriment and negativeness on that pay-per-view, that I thought it wouldn't, it would kind of deteriorate from it. And Survivor Series has the debut, the Shield, and the really good tags. Okay. I was wrong.
There aren't a ton of top-level pay-per-views in 2012. Despite being a top-notch WWE champion, CM Punk's reign took a permanent backseat to whatever John Cena was doing at the time, even if what he was doing was wrestling a no-talent scumbag like John Laurinaitis, and unfortunately, there weren't many folks capable of stealing the show until The Shield debuted at the end of the year. That is, with the exception of Extreme Rules. One of the only times that year that John Cena deserved top billing on the pay-per-view, his match with Brock Lesnar is utterly electrifying in its brilliant violence, where Brock showed us all that he would not be content to get fat and happy with his UFC earnings going ass over tea kettle and busting John Cena wide open. But the rest of the card delivered as well. Bryan and Sheamus' 2 out of 3 falls match is by far the biggest highlight of Sheamus' particularly poor world title reign. CM Punk's knee pads and boots over his jeans fit made him look like a fisherman, but his match was good, making Extreme Rules the show with the best top matches of any pay-per-view of 2012. 2013 SummerSlam.
That's what I assumed, because they had Bryan beating Cena, Punk and Lesnar, which is fucking fantastic. Yeah, there's some, I thought this would be on here.
A one-match show probably won't find itself on this list, but a two-match show, yeah, that'll do, particularly with 2 matches like we saw at SummerSlam 2013. The undercard of this show is a whole lot of nothing. A terrible Ring of Fire Inferno match where the heels just put out the fire, Dolph and Caitlyn versus Big E and AJ being the end of any semblance of Dolph's involvement in the world title picture. It is nothing to write home about. Christian and notable prick Alberto Del Rio is solid, but that was all this SummerSlam had going for it until we finally got Brock Lesnar versus CM Punk and John Cena versus Daniel Bryan. Which one is better? I'll let you decide. If you want dynamic violence to the extreme, then Punk and Brock is probably your favorite. If you want a more tried and true WWE Championship main event style match done at its best, then Cena and Bryan is probably your favorite. But either way you flip it, these are probably the 2 best matches of WWE's year, and they took place on the same show. And that's not even taking into account Orton's cash-in and Triple H's heel turn. A 2-match show has never looked so good. 2014 WrestleMania.
Obvious.
Mania 30. Conveniently for this list's sake, SummerSlam 2013 was the start of Daniel Bryan and the Authority, and here in 2014 at WrestleMania 30, we saw the end. Not how WWE intended, mind you, but that doesn't matter, does it? The middle of this Mania might be hella bumpy, but Cesaro winning the Battle Royal is awesome. I think the Cena-Bray match is actually pretty good until the wrong man wins, and simply no amount of Cena wins lol and oops we broke Undertaker shenanigans could derail Yeselmania. This show is bookended by one of the best pay-per-view opening matches in WWE history between Bryan and Triple H, and then Bryan finally capturing the WWE Championship against Batista and Orton in the main event, with one of the biggest feel-good Mania endings there has ever been. The fun may have stopped there for Bryan's reign, but who could ever forget the miracle on Bourbon Street? 2015 WrestleMania 31.
Yep, I assumed this one. The rest of these I have no. So I got one wrong out of my guesses. Got one wrong out of my guesses, which was 2012. And then the rest of them, okay. Let me think. Let me see. So I'm gonna try to guess the rest of these. Okay. 16. Oh, they have so many good options for 16. They got Money in the Bank, which I think is really good. SummerSlam is somewhat fun. Royal Rumble is kind of fun. 32 is never going to be chosen. It'll be the worst. Actually, I think it might be Survivor Series for 2016. I'd be shocked. They have a bunch of options, so I could be... They have so many good options for 2016 that I'm not surprised if something else isn't there. But I think Survivor Series could be on it. 17 might be the Royal Rumble. That might be... Actually, I don't know, because that's Cena and AJ, and that's about it. Actually, now that I said that. Because that Rumble sucks. 2017... Oh, I don't know. I actually don't know for 2017. I can't think of a good like a really good standout pay-per-view. I actually can't pick any for the rest. I don't know. I got 2016 Survivor Series. I don't know the rest.
1 year later, and the little WrestleMania that could actually managed to be one of the best of all time, despite no one thinking it had it in it. After one of the worst builds to a Mania in history, Daytime Mania put together great ladder match after RKO with fun and vibes and great entrances, for the most part, until all that was left was the main event. The match that no one on earth besides the members of the Bloodline wanted to see Roman Reigns win. With Brock Lesnar having just publicly announced his intention to stay with WWE, he had renewed support from the Mania crowd, so when he began throwing Roman around, coining the term Suplex City bitch, and bleeding like a son of a bitch, everyone was into it. Something that cannot be said about either of their Mania sequels. But could Brock wrest the coronation from the machine-chosen Roman? Of course not. Have you seen this show? Seth cashes in during the main event of WrestleMania to win his first ever WWE title in another of the greatest Mania endings ever. I'll never forget my history teacher saying this Mania sucked. You're a fool, Mr. Anthony, and I hope you can live with yourself. 2016 Survivor Series.
Boom! Fucking A! Fucking A for getting that one right.
The first entry on this list with the personal Tempest touch, because after 10 long years, WWE finally came back to Toronto for a pay-per-view. You know how much money you could have gotten out of young Tempest buying tickets to an annual Toronto show? Did you have to wait until he moved across the ocean? Anywho, the Red vs. Blue Survivor Series trend was only just beginning with the reintroduction of the brand split in 2016, and thus there was some renewed interest in Survivor Series as a show after a mostly terrible last decade. And thankfully, this show delivered. The men's elimination match is one of the best Survivor Series matches ever, clocking in at 52 star-studded minutes. The tag elimination match is very fun and a big night for the Bar, who are emerging as one of the best teams in WWE, and of course the moment no one could have ever seen coming. The Miz beat Sami Zayn. God, poor Sammy. And yeah, also Goldberg wrestled his first match in 12 years and broke the streak breaker in 90 seconds. Now, I've been to a number of pay-per-views since that, but I don't think any of them have had a single moment more completely unforgettable than that one. 2017, No Mercy. Sometimes
I completely forget all about No Mercy. Tell me what's about No Mercy.
WWE just decides to blow their entire load on a B pay-per-view, and while it might be a bit jarring to see a bunch of the biggest matches possible not take place at WrestleMania or SummerSlam, with the lengthy build that comes packaged with such a thing, it certainly makes for a fantastic show. Everyone was standing at attention for the tag title match between The Bar and Ambrose and Rollins. Well, everyone but Cesaro's teeth, who had been tucked neatly into Cesaro's gums. You had a few undercard gems like Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt and a women's fight 5-way, but the matches that sold the tickets were the double main event of Roman Reigns versus John Cena and Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman. These matches were definitely not equal in quality, but Brock versus Braun was the big match coming out of the summer, and Roman versus Cena was the battle of WWE flag bearers that I'm really shocked never happened at WrestleMania. This was better than their eventual SummerSlam match, and it played a large part in making No Mercy one of the best WWE B shows in history. 2018, the Royal Rumble. Part 2.
Alright, I get that one. The first women's one and both fan favorite Japanese people win. Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's all I got.
And The Tempest was their double feature, and after the stretch of bad to okay Royal Rumble pay-per-views that preceded this one, it was certainly a gamble to unload my wallet on a trip to Philly. Thankfully, we got the best Rumble pay-per-view in years and years, with maybe the best Royal Rumble match of all time. The rest of the card is mostly okay. The handicap WWE title match opener is a bit clunky, but well worked. The Monster vs. Beast vs. Demon triple threat is best remembered for Brock Lesnar battering Strowman in the side of the head for a shoot, and the Usos beating American Alpha 2.0, 2 straight falls in a best of 3 falls match, was certainly unexpected, but the first ever Women's Rumble feels appropriately important, even with a robotic Stephanie McMahon on commentary, which thankfully I didn't have to listen to live, score 1 for Tempest, and the Men's Rumble is just a work of art. The 4 most likely winners were the final 4, heightening the drama and our desire to see Nakamura win, which he did, and I think my voice is still recovering from the noise that I made in that moment. 2019, Survivor Series. We close out the
Oh, that makes sense. Yes, the NXT Raw and SmackDown. Okay, yeah, that one makes complete sense.
decade with the best part of WWE's 2010s, NXT. After a couple years of declining importance, the Raw vs. SmackDown gimmick of Survivor Series had grown stale and needed a revamp, and so for 2019, NXT was added to the mix. This wasn't done again in the years after for some reason, but on this occasion, the yellow brand injected a bit of life into this tired format. Nakamura vs. Styles vs. Strong didn't get nearly the reaction it deserved from this crowd, but was still fun. Adam Cole and Pete Dunne have a takeover match on WWE pay-per-view, which was ace. Brock and the worst of Ray's 2 Joker cosplays have a fun sprint, but this match is rightfully best remembered for one man, Keith Lee. The 5-on-5-on-5 elimination match on this show ranks high on the list of best ever, even if Walter is eliminated first. But the final stretch of Roman vs. Lee is like capturing lightning in a bottle, and I only wish that we can one day see Keith Lee return to these heights so we can all bask in his glory once again.
Agreed.
And that's our list. Make sure
Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this reaction video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all for the next one.